Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Jackie.
And today we're going to be making some amazing cream leek and wild mushroom pancakes. Super simple, super quick, can't really go wrong. And it's one of your recipes in the book.
It is. Absolutely brilliant for a quick tea on a night or even a very, very luxury breakfast.
So the first thing we're going to do is whisk up the milk and the eggs. So if you want to crack those into there, I'll get the flour. And this is just a savoury crepe, savoury pancake.
It is. Don't put the shell in, it's not very nice with the shell in.
No. So if you just...
And I'm just whisking the eggs to make sure it's mixed in properly before I put the flour in.
And then that's already been sieved. And we're just looking for a really smooth batter, no lumps. So you need to work those muscles.
And try and keep it in the bowl if I can.
And try and keep it in the bowl. And if it is just a little bit too thick, we can always add a little bit more milk. Or if it's too thin, we can just add a little bit more flour.
Right, that's looking smooth.
Perfect. So
now
I'll make these. If you want to just pick the thyme and chop it.
when you're doing thyme, always make sure you haven't got the stalks because they're not very nice inside cooking.
No, they're a little, I was going to say crunchy, they're not crunchy, they're just a little bit tough.
They're very tough and horrible, aren't they?
They're good for stocks though, if you're making a stock or a veg stock or a chicken stock, because they still have quite a bit of flavour in them, so they're always good to keep to one side and use up in soups or stews or any of that sort of stuff. So this is one of your recipes from the book.
It is, yep.
So what got you into cooking, chefing?
Oh, I've been chefing literally all my life. I started cooking, and my mum and my dad had always said to me, don't do cooking, you'll end up being a dishwasher person for the rest of your life.
Oh.
I said, no, I won't.
It's quite glamorous now to be a chef though.
It is.
All these celebrities and TV shows, cameras, lights, hair and makeup.
Well, when I first started, I'm not very tall. I used to get put in the kitchen in the pastry section all the time.
Right.
Because I couldn't reach the cookers. So I ended up going in the back end.
And doing all the pastry and desserts.
All the pastry, but I loved it.
And so now, do you prefer, because I know how I feel, but do you prefer the more creative side of being a chef, or do you prefer the busy service, the adrenaline?
I like the creative side, but I do like the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got a limit to do it and you get absolutely hammered.
Yeah. And I think it's good as well, because there's not a lot of other industries where you can be so creative. Like, if you're an accountant or an electrician or a plumber, or you can't just make things up, because otherwise formulas don't work or they'll electrocute themselves. Or whereas a chef, you can just
you can't really electrocute anybody being a chef.
You can just be as creative as you like. And this is a great recipe because, although we're doing the cream leeks and the wild mushrooms, you could literally do it with anything. You don't even have to use wild mushrooms. You could just use button mushrooms or flat cap mushrooms, or take the mushrooms out if you don't like them, add some garlic. You could really do anything. So I'll cook these and I'll be back in a second.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the crepes done. So
they're looking wonderful.
You want me on cooking these now?
Yep, right. We've decided on copying what's in the book at the moment. We can add different things, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We've got leeks. Make sure that you wash them, trim them, and chop them properly, because you do get sometimes a little bit of grit or mud in them. So make sure they're washed before you start. Mushrooms, you can have any variety of mushrooms. A mixture is better, it gives it a little bit more flavour. The shop bought ones, you just need to add a little bit to make it taste nice. A little bit of butter, which we're going to fry lightly, the leeks and the mushrooms. Sweat them off rather than cook them till they're brown, so they want to be on a lowish heat. When we've done that, we're going to add the cream, nutmeg, just to give it a little bit of enhanced flavour, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're going to fill them and top them with Gruyere cheese.
Right, Jackie, that's your leeks
Oh,
and
thank you very much.
mushrooms cooked down. So, obviously this is stationary. You're used to working at 125 miles an hour or whatever the crazy speed is that train goes.
They do go pretty quick.
How do you find working like this compared to working...
It's actually a lot better when you're actually stationary.
Right.
When you're actually cooking on a train, you're like this all the time. So
Really?
you've got to be really good and you've got to be really dexterous, because otherwise you'll end up with the filling everywhere. But if you were to make pancakes, you could still do it. It's just you've got to train your legs to actually follow everything else.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that.
You will get there.
I don't know if I could do that.
It takes a while, and when I first started, I thought I'm never going to be able to do this. But actually, you don't even think about it.
Because you just cook fresh eggs and you just do
Yeah, we
loads
do.
of...
We do poached eggs, we do sausages, we cook bacon, and we do porridge as well. And for some reason, it just works. I don't know how. We just managed to get through the day, and
it's a really small
it's good.
kitchen as well,
it's
isn't
a
it?
very small kitchen. You could not pass 2 people in it. Right, we've got very thin pancakes. If you look, you don't want them too thick. If you have them too thick, you'll end up with stodgy pancakes, and they don't taste very nice. I've done enough for 2, so if you put half on one side, and then you fold them over. You don't want to put too much filling in, because if you do, when you're cooking them, they'll just blow out everywhere. So do that for 2. Right. So now you've got your 2 folded pancakes. I'm just moving them to the middle a little bit, just so that keep them on the paper. You're best to use greaseproof paper, because when they actually start cooking, the cheese tends to melt and you'll end up with it sticking on your tray, and you'll probably not get the paper off the tray. Next we get the Gruyere cheese. You don't need to use Gruyere, you can use any cheese. If you've only got cheddar in the house, use cheddar. Now we've got all the cheese on, you've got to work quite quick, because the cheese will melt because the filling is still hot underneath. So we want to take these now and put them in the oven. They'll take probably about 5-10 minutes just to heat through and have a little bit of a colour on, nice and crispy on the outside.
Lovely.
Right, I'll go and set them to the oven. And here we have the finished product.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, they look
They do
great.
smell nice.
We plating?
Right, we shall. I know it says ladies first, but we'll do gentlemen first.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I'm getting treated here.
Special treatment.
And then we've just got some micro herbs just to garnish. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you keep an eye on all the social channels for LNER Weekend Kitchen. Thank you very much for coming along and showing me your amazing recipe, yet
Thank
simple.
you very much for welcoming me here.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
That is really good.